the untapped $1 million opportunity for bankruptcy firms. It's sitting right in front of you. The thing is, your clients are not just the bankruptcy. They're potential PI cases that they either have or they will have in the future. And all you have to do is stay in touch with them. Today, I have Michael Jaafar from FairMax Law in Ohio and Michigan. I've known Mike. Mike, we've known each other for years,
Yeah.
right? And the thing about you, Mike, you've always thought like this. The bankruptcy is not the bankruptcy. It's like, where's the other income that I can piece together that takes about a $2,000 bankruptcy or $1,500 bankruptcy and really adds value to it, adds to the profitability firm. This is like your playbook, and this is why I asked you to make these calls specifically about PI cases, how you bring them in, et cetera, et cetera. And just for those watching, his website's bigcasemike.com. You can go in there. He appears on Court TV. Like there's a lot here, and I just want to start unpacking with this $1 million opportunity. And keep in mind, these are debtor attorneys, bankruptcy attorneys that we can all use extra profitability. So I want to take it away. What are your thoughts?
No, I like the way you segued into it, the way you brought it up. Yeah, I think debtor. So I've never used the phrases, bankruptcy lawyers, personal injury lawyers. I've always used the phrase consumer lawyer because at the
Okay.
end of the day, when you look at it as consumer law, then that opens up the playbook to anything that the debtor needs, right? Now, let me explain. That doesn't mean that every lawyer should specialize in multiple different verticals. That's not what I'm saying. But personal injury law and bankruptcy law are one and the same. They're both consumer law. You still have the same avatar of a client, which is a person who is middle income or lower, does not know a lawyer, did not graduate with a lawyer, is not best friends with a lawyer, and needs a lawyer. These people will respond to an ad, whether it's a Google ad, a billboard ad, whatever kind of ad it is, because they don't know lawyers, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's like being in another country, right? And you don't know a specific thing or a vertical, and you see an advertisement for it and you need it, you'll call the ad because you'll assume that the person with the advertisement knows what, they are there, they want your business. So I always look at it as consumer law.
Yeah.
It's different than corporate law, white collar law. It's consumer law. So when you look at it that way, you will understand that the bankruptcy client and the personal injury client are one and the same. One time, my law firm helped a mass tort firm who was settling a mass tort IVC filter case, right? And they contacted our bankruptcy firm, one of the lawyers in my office, because they said, we're about to settle these 500 claims, but we need to know whether or not they filed bankruptcy. So we searched and we told them 70% of the people that are receiving a claim have filed bankruptcy in the last 10 years.
Oh my God. 70%?
70%, yeah, even though 1% of the American population has filed bankruptcy, 70% of the people who are receiving a personal injury settlement have filed bankruptcy. And to me, it's like they were not the only people who you had an IVC filter.
Right.
Those were the only people who responded to an ad.
Wow, that's
Compensation.
fascinating. So do you think it's because our debtors just don't have money, so they're looking for, hey, how to pay the bill? Oh, filter claim. I better check into that. Where a more affluent client just doesn't cross their mind like that. I mean,
I
that's
I think
70% overlap. That's huge.
70%, even though 1% of the American population has filed bankruptcy. Here's my theory. Bankruptcy debtors are salt of the earth. That's why. And
Yeah.
they've gone the short end of the stick to get to a point to file bankruptcy. And so by getting the short end of the stick when they're in a car accident, they react differently than a person making 480 grand a year. The person
Yeah.
making 480 grand a year, we've spoken to those people when they're in a car accident. They don't want to talk to you. I don't have time. Yeah, I don't have time for this. I
Mhm.
don't have time
Yeah.
to work and build my personal injury
Yeah.
case. I got to get to work. I'm a doctor. I'm a
Yeah.
surgeon. I
Right.
have
Right. Right.
somebody. And they ask me, so I don't understand. So they're usually just calling the lawyer to make sure they're not going to get sued. And we explain to them, well, your auto insurance is going to cover it, but you were hit. You have a claim. Well, what's the claim worth? I don't know, 30,000. Yeah, I'm not
Mhm.
interested.
Yeah.
And that's why they don't
Yeah.
proceed personal injury claims. It's not because they're less injured.
Right.
They just have less time. But a
But
person.
actually, and we say it over and over, a debtor is in bankruptcy or going into bankruptcy because of a medical issue, a car accident, or loss of job. We actually say
Mhm.
car accident all the time.
Mhm.
And I've really never thought about that. That's very fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. So for them, being hit in a car when they're driving a car and they talk to a lawyer and a lawyer says, I'm not going to charge you a fee. I only collect if you collect. and I think your case is worth 30, maybe 40,000, that will move the needle for them. That's life-changing
Big deal.
money.
Big deal.
There's furniture around the house that's broken down that they need to replace. There's a roof with a leak, and
Yeah.
$30,000 will solve all their problems for a decade.
Yeah.
And so that is why they will gravitate towards a personal injury lawyer, not because they're less intelligent or
No. Yeah.
less injured, more injured. They just they need the money more. It's like if you're making 20 bucks an hour and somebody offers you a job for $48 an hour, you're going to take it. So, but if
So
you're
Mike,
making
let's talk about the practicality. Okay, so I mean, you have a big firm. You have many, layers. Like the person calls in, they're not talking to you, they're talking to your team. They're at some point they get to you or your attorneys. How Where do you start piecing in this PI conversation? Obviously, in the initial intake, every bankruptcy attorney asks about, do you have any claims coming in? But like, how do you piece it in?
very,
And
very in two
yeah,
ways. So in
yeah,
two ways. So I consulted with lots of people and I built a nice system. And it's not complicated. I'll tell it to all your viewers right now. So there's the people who have a claim before they file bankruptcy. You obviously have to ask the question. Every lawyer already asks, hey, do you have a personal injury claim? Have you been injured in the past 3 years in a car accident, slipped and fell? And that's easy. And then you refer it to a personal injury lawyer if you don't want to handle it in house. That's a separate conversation for another time, right? For later on in this
yeah, sure.
interview, right? And the second one, the more complicated one, is how do you stay in touch with people who get injured? And I've got it down to a very simple thing. You need to be reminding people about yourself anyway.
Mm.
It starts from the beginning.
Yeah.
You need to tell people I do injury and bankruptcy, and people are going to cringe at that, and I know why, but I have something to tell all my colleagues that they're not thinking about. You let people know that you do personal injury and bankruptcy. Back in the olden days, it was a little bit easier because people were coming into your office and then you'd have a sign in the lobby saying we do personal injury. That's not the case anymore, right? So you remind them now in better ways. So what you do is you ask them for their birthday, and on their birthday, you send them a text message. Hey, we're still here. If you're injured in a car accident, call us. We can help you.
Hmm.
Because now this is a person who has a relationship with you. And if you understand, if you really think about it, there are less people getting in car accidents than filing bankruptcy. And so now that you know that the people who have personal injury in the next 20 years have probably filed bankruptcy, if they filed bankruptcy with you, you're basically building an inventory for yourself. You're building a bunch of walking, talking billboards for free. So you send them a birthday text message,
Okay.
okay? A birthday text message reminding them, hey, happy birthday. We helped you with your bankruptcy. If you're injured, do this. But here's the cool part. Send them when they hire you for bankruptcy, send them a card to put in their glove compartment that is a card that they fill out like a checklist if they're ever injured in a car accident.
Mm.
So it'll say, and
Checklist.
everybody can have their own
Love
flavor of
that.
it.
Love it.
Call 911. Number two, take pictures of your car. Number three, take pictures of the other car. Get their auto insurance. Do
Mm.
not make any statements to the police that are not correct, right? Call our firm immediately so we can protect your rights.
If you have an example of that, your card, I'd love to include it as a link here. Boy, those are two. So I love that. Let's unpack this for one thing. So the first thing is post bankruptcy. So you sent everyone a birthday text.
Birthday text, send them a birthday text. Yep.
Huh.
And
And you just say like, hey, happy birthday. Just want to let you know, FairMax Law, appreciate your support. We're here to support your needs if you know anybody who needs bankruptcy or personal injury.
yeah, yeah, yes, we do that, and we've always done that. And now with the card, we used to do that. We had a lot of success with the card. I'm probably going to be selling FairMax Law soon, so
Hmm.
we're not going to renew the cards, but they were very successful. I'm going to be purely moving into the personal injury space just because how much I loved it.
Oh,
Uh,
you are. Okay. So you're transitioning from bankruptcy to personal injury full time.
Yeah, me
Okay.
personally, FairMax Law is always going to be a
Yeah.
bankruptcy, and it's a very successful bankruptcy firm. But I'm no longer going to be cross marketing both brands.
Got it.
But many attorneys aren't going to go out and build a separate standalone personal injury firm. I'm happy to talk about that if you want, but
Yeah.
I'm just going for those of them that are too late in the game to start a new firm. I did this for 10 years where I had FairMax Law harvest personal injury claims
Mhm.
and we did it successfully, right? And it was great. And it's a very simple playbook, which is look, the person who's injured in a car accident is going to be looking to who they're going to hire. And they're going to hire the person who's top of mind awareness in certain markets. In other markets, they don't know of a lawyer. So for example, take my DMA, which is it's 2 states, but let's just use Detroit as an example. There are a lot of attorneys who spend millions of dollars of advertising in Detroit on billboards.
Mhm.
They don't advertise at all outside of Detroit. Michigan's a big state. Same thing in Ohio. There's one lawyer that advertises heavy in Cleveland. The majority of the state is untapped. So if you have a bankruptcy client, you have a bankruptcy client in Mansfield, Ohio, and that person is not waking up every day and seeing a bunch of billboards
Right.
to a lawyer who's doing personal injury.
Right.
And if they've done a bankruptcy with you and you've positioned yourself as an expert or a resource for them, if they are ever in a car accident, why wouldn't they call you? They're going
Yeah.
to call
Right.
you. They already have a
So
relationship with you.
so the card, so the card after the bankruptcy is a, hey, put this in your glove compartment. If you ever need anything, if you ever get in a car accident, here's the steps you have to take, right?
Yeah,
And whatever it is, get the driver's license, get their contact information, get their insurance, talk to the police truthfully. Do you always file a police report, whatever that is, right? Whatever that checklist is. Okay, so those are two things that you do on the texting and on the back end. Now, how often do you get a PI lead out of bankruptcy? Like for every 100 bankruptcies, is there one, two? Like, do you have any numbers on that? Because I'm sort of curious.
you know, I don't know if I've ever tracked the numbers. I know that it was a good substantial amount. I know that it was healthy.
Hmm.
Early on, we would refer it to another firm and we would get referral fees.
Hmm.
Then we started doing it ourselves in-house.
So,
Uh,
assuming a bankruptcy is worth $1,500 or $2,000, right? By incorporating these PI ideas, these questions of, hey, happy birthday, a monthly newsletter. We have many of our clients that we send out this monthly newsletter for. It's amazing to me how many debtors forward our emails to other debtors and they
yeah,
call in for a bankruptcy consultation. That's why we do the newsletter. These debtor attorneys think, oh, one and done, they're not going to hire me again. Well, first of all, they have friends that are going to hire you. And second of all, you never know if they need to hire you. I mean, we've had many clients, as start with a 7, enter a 13 4 years later, whatever the reason is, right? So staying in contact with them, a text, the card, I love that. And let's just pretend the value of a bankruptcy is 15 or $2,000. Like how much can you add by incorporating this? I mean, can you add another bankruptcy or is it more like 20% like value? Like what are you adding by incorporating the PI conversation? I love the consumer lawyer. I'm a consumer lawyer. I'm here for you. What
yeah.
can you add in terms of, extra
Oh,
fees?
tons. I mean, a
Like,
personal injury file, I mean, a typical auto accident, that ranges state by state, but it's
mhm,
valuable in every state.
mhm.
Uh, I could tell you the numbers in Ohio and Michigan, but I go to national conferences.
Mhm.
There's people from every single state, and everybody's consistent. Everybody's consistent. They make a lot of money on motor vehicle.
So if you're not holding the firm yourself, if I'm not handling the PI, let's just assume my bankruptcy attorneys watching are going to refer it out to someone, right? If they're going to refer it out to someone, can you expect a 25% bump on
Uh,
50%? Like what give me a gut feel.
No, more than that. Um,
Really?
more than that. I did run numbers one time on how many would do it, and really we were forced to do it when we did that lien subrogation for that mass tort firm back in 2020. I know it was at the beginning of the pandemic. And we found that 70% of people who were receiving a claim on the IVC filter case had filed bankruptcy in the past 10 years, even though 1% of the American population has filed bankruptcy.
Crazy, yeah.
Right? So for us, I sat down and I did the numbers, right? You never know how many of your bankruptcy clients don't call you. I remember I vividly one time what really got me down this road was a bankruptcy client that we had served in a Chapter 13 that loved us.
Mhm.
She sent an email to me a year after her discharge, said, "Hey, I want to let you know I was in a car accident." So at the beginning of the email, I thought, great. She's
Gosh.
come back. She
Yeah.
said, I hired this firm. They did a terrible job, but I'm getting a settlement. It's going to be 190,000. Am I okay with my portion with the bankruptcy? I thought to myself, my
Mhm.
God, I wish. That's when I called my team. I said, I want everybody to be in this meeting. We are never going to let this happen ever again.
Yeah.
I remember her name vividly. Uh, and so, and
Painful.
yeah, so you never know how many. I mean, had I referred her out, I would have had one third of the attorney fee. The attorney fee was $68,000. I would have gotten
Yeah.
a check for one third.
Yeah.
But you never know how many people fall off and still don't respond to you. Obviously, there's going to be a portion that don't. But I think we said that, man, out of every 100 bankruptcies, a good 8, 9, 10 of them would come to us in the ensuing years with a personal injury claim. It was actually more when you account for medical malpractice claims. It's almost like everybody has a medical malpractice claim, and there's
Yeah.
few attorneys that handle them.
Mhm.
But the real valuable ones are the auto accident
Mhm.
cases, right? But those are the most prevalent anyway,
Mhm.
right? So I would say it's not 10% of your former bankruptcy clients, but it's not 1%.
Okay. So
So
let's just say it's 5%. And let's just say you refer it out. How much would those five cases be worth to a referring attorney? Is it,
Ohio and Michigan, the referring attorney on average is going to get an attorney fee of 33,000 to 40,000, and they'll
wait,
pay for a third.
oh, wait, they get a third of that? So you're
Oh,
talking if
no,
it's 30,000.
no, that's their attorney fee. They'll settle a typical auto accident case for 90 to 100.
Okay. So if it's 90,000, that means the attorney gets a third of that,
They
right?
get 30, then they would get 30,000 in that example.
So then the referring attorney
And then
would
the
get
attorney gets a third of that.
a third. So it'd be $10,000. So wait, if there's 100 cases, so 100 cases and just using easy numbers at $2,000. So that's $200,000, right?
Yeah. Mhm.
And then and they would make $10,000 times five if we just use a small 5% number. That's $50,000.
Yeah, 50,000. Yeah.
That's a huge number. And that's with doing no work. That's the
Yeah.
kicker. That's for
Yeah.
doing no work. So how does
And,
somebody,
and it puts them it puts them in the muscle memory of constantly contacting their clients, and their clients are going to come to them for bankruptcy
for
referral.
other things, for other work? And
Yeah.
not only that, you're going to get some people, instead of failing in a 13, they're going to pay off the 13 and they're going to get their full fees, right? Like that
Yep.
happens.
Yep. Yep. That's a good
So,
one.
okay, Mike, how does someone find someone they trust? How do you know? Like, I mean, how do you, uh, actually, I'm going to do that on the next video. Like, how do you find the right PI attorney? Because
Oh,
that's,
that's so easy. That's so easy.
okay.
They're a dime a dozen.
Oh, they
They're
are.
Yeah, every bankruptcy lawyer knows when they put out an ad to hire a new bankruptcy lawyer,
Uh-huh.
they're inundated with resumes with lawyers who
Uh-huh.
all they do is PI. There are so many PI firms. Any PI firm, the biggest one in your state, you send a message, say, "Hey, I own a bankruptcy firm. I want to refer you cases." The owner of that firm will harass your cell phone number. He'll call you, he'll email you, he'll call you, he'll email, he'll text you. Here's my direct cell. Call me 7 days a week. Those boys are different. I'm telling you, those boys are different in that industry because they're making money. Here's what those boys are: 7 day a week operation, 24 hours a day.
They
They have
work.
a center. Yeah, they work because at the end of the day, just imagine you as a bankruptcy lawyer. You're doing the same job that you do today, but instead of an average value of $1,500 average attorney fee, you're getting $32,000. You're actually
Yeah.
being respected for your time, and you don't have,
Yeah. It's a
a
whole different
resident
game.
U.S. trustee looking at your $1,500. I don't know if this is too much. Those guys. It's so easy
They're
to
not
find.
being fair to the client. Oh my God, you're charging too much. So are all PI firms created equal? I mean, like, is it true that with XYZ PI firm, the fees will be 90 and another one will be 50? Or is it not
Yes,
really?
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's an excellent question. So No, all PI firms are not created equally. So, and here's why. This is important for anyone who's doing this, who wants to refer out PI clients. I want you to understand something. In the insurance industry uses a software called Colossus to gauge the strength of a lawyer on a case.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they will settle the case and they'll make an offer of settlement based on the experience, expertise, and trial prowess of that firm. So if you were to refer the cases to a firm, let's just say you're a bankruptcy lawyer in Iowa and you find a buddy who's just getting started and you refer it to him, your buddy is in Colossus, and when he files a claim against Progressive, they're going to say this guy's never had a trial. We're going to offer him X, the same exact injury, same exact client, but they're represented by another Iowa firm
Right.
that has 30 years experience, trial experience. That person is going to probably get triple for
Triple.
doing,
Oh, it's that big of a delta?
oh, 100%. Well, just think about it, right? So if you are, we're going to use Iowa as an example. I have nothing, I have never been in Iowa. I don't represent clients in Iowa. So that's why I'll use it as an example. Um, if somebody's driving, they're driving home from work and somebody T-bones their car and dislocates their shoulder, and that person calls a lawyer with very little experience, well, that lawyer is going to tell that personal injury, that injured client, you know, go to physical therapy, send me your bills,
Right.
and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to build a demand, right? Okay. The experienced attorney will say, I want you to go to this doctor. I'm going to have my staff set up the appointment. I'm going to make it very convenient for you. I want you to have this therapy facility, this. And have you thought about getting evaluated for a traumatic brain injury?
Mhm.
You say that you have blurred vision. You say that you've been vomiting. You might have gotten a mild concussion. I want you to be evaluated by this neurology team and have this neurologist. They're like doctors. They're lawyers, but they'll actually do a full workup to
Yeah,
help
right, right.
health in your recovery. And in so doing, when they make a claim to settle your case, they're bringing in the concussion, they're bringing in the dislocated shoulder, they're bringing in the changes to your life, the time you missed playing baseball with your son, the things that you could have been
Yeah,
doing, going to the park, kayaking, all this.
right.
So now, instead of demanding $28,000 like the
Yeah,
younger attorney would, they're demanding 180.
yeah,
And if they
yeah.
don't get the 180, they're going to trial. And so, absolutely, it matters who you refer to. So, for anybody who's thinking of doing this, don't think that the best attorney in your DMA is beyond your reach. Trust
Mhm.
me on this. They need you more than you need them
Mhm.
because they're competing with one another. They're not
Yeah.
competing with you. So
And,
they,
and and when someone's working 24 hours, 7 days a week, and it's a $40,000 clip every settlement, they're working hard and they're
yeah,
spending high dollars on advertising. So if they can get a referring attorney to refer for free, as opposed to spending millions, literally millions of dollars on advertising a month on some of these big firms,
yeah.
it's a whole different game.
When I was, yeah, when I was a young bankruptcy lawyer and I started doing this, I had made a phone call to one of the most famous lawyers in the country. They just happened to be in Michigan.
Mhm.
She was in my office. Next day, she brought lunch and she sat in the lobby until I came out of my office.
She's like,
I
you're
was
you're like you're like, what's going on here?
I was starstruck. I thought, what is to this point for real? Well, I saw your advertising. I know you do bankruptcy. You reached out to my staff. I wanted to come here and introduce myself. We can help your clients. Bring in your staff. I can do an education for all of you guys. I've never forgotten that.
You know what I love about this is just using the numbers you gave, right? If you're charging $1,500 on a bankruptcy, and let's just say 5%, which is reasonable, right? Like that's not an exaggeration of a potential 5 cases out of 100 coming back, right? That's those you said maybe not 10, but not one. So is five a fair number?
5%. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
5%. So if you're charging $1,500 for bankruptcy and you keep track of your clients and you refer it out, that's a 33% increase bonus in fees. If you're charging $2,000, it's a 25% increase in bonus. You don't have to, as you mentioned earlier, you don't have to deal with judges worrying, scrutinizing your fees. Well, you can't charge that much.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this is all part of it. And this is all if you refer it out, right?
Yeah. And there's no cost. So there's no payroll
No.
tax close it.
Oh,
So it's not like like out of your average case value for your bankruptcy, you have to pay your staff. So like
good point.
I tell bankruptcy lawyers, you're not making the money you make. Like if you really look at it, I say 1,500, but the average actual attorney fee in an
Right.
actual bankruptcy, I do have the data. It's actually $1,100.
Yeah,
If
right.
people actually look at it, their merchant fees alone, they're not what they think they're. Their merchant fees are
Yeah.
5%.
Yeah.
People don't know that they're paying a 5% merchant fee.
Yeah.
You're paying for credit reports. How much are you paying? You're actually left before you pay any of your bills. You're left with $1,100.
And that's based on what value are you talking about? Like, what do you what that's 1,100 after charging what?
So after 1,500.
Oh, 1,500. So we're
Sure.
talking $400 cost. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, that's the thing. And this is nothing. It's clean. You're
Yeah.
1099. It's done.
Mhm.
Wow. And so let me review this. One, consumer lawyer. Rebrand your practice. You're not a bankruptcy attorney.
A
You're a
consumer lawyer.
consumer lawyer. I love that because you know what? It is a different type. They go hand in hand. They are people that don't have friends as attorneys. And okay, here I need you for bankruptcy. Oh, I didn't know you did PR, or PI. I didn't know you did PI. You bring up early. Do you have a PI? We do personal injury if you have a friend or family member or you ever in an issue. You text them on their birthday, reminding them, "Hey, we're here for your debtor work or your personal injury work." For our clients, we can incorporate now that we're understanding this and learning this, we can incorporate it PI emails in the emails and PI content in the follow-up. The next thing you brought up is the card. Here's a card. Put this in your glove compartment. Hopefully you'll never need it. But if you do, you know it's here, right? Because,
Yeah.
getting in a car accident, it is emotional. Oh, what am
Yeah.
I forgetting? Here, it's all here for you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you find a good PI attorney, someone who's respected in the area, and you start referring it out. And you're going to find somewhere around 5% of your cases
Yeah.
have something or turn into something.
And listen, and it could be more, and it could be more because at the end of the day, if you stick to this and you do it, and the card that I'm talking about, there are a bunch of vendors online where what I recommend people do, and this is what we did at the end, and it was awesome, is and you send your clients, it's not just a card, it's one of these little pamphlets that allows them to keep their registration and insurance in it so that if
Oh,
they're ever pulled over they can pull it out,
right
right
there. Yeah,
right
like a
there, and
sleeve.
on the back of it you have the checklist,
I
right?
love
And
it.
it's almost like a full-on packet to protect you when
Yeah,
you're pulled over or when you're in a car accident, follow through,
perfect.
right? So people will find success with that.
Well, clearly it's successful if you've gone, you're a debtor attorney
Yeah,
that is actually transitioning completely in
yeah.
to PI. I mean, you wouldn't be able to do this if you didn't find the cases, which is why specifically I wanted you
Thank you.
on this video.
Yeah.
Mike, thanks so much for your time. Big Case Mike, Michigan and Ohio, bigcasemike.com. Check out the videos. They're impressive.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Mike.
Phil. Bye bye.